Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world today. It's lovely to have you here with us on another episode of Be Fearless. Today, we are blessed with the company of a wonderful young lady. Her name is Pau, and I'm so grateful that she's here to talk to us about being fearless. Hi, Pau.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me here again. And thank you so much to Global Speakers Talk for this another opportunity to share my voice, share my story, and, share whatever insight that I can probably provide to our viewers and listeners.
Well, it's absolutely our pleasure. And I just want to tell the viewers that if they're watching on the replay, if you can just pop in #replay. And also, after we've spoken to Pau today, all of her details, everything will be in the chat for you to contact her when you've found out about all the wonderful things she can do to help. So I'm just going to tell you that I'm your host today for this G.S.T podcast. My name is Lisa Marie, and I'm a primary school teacher, and I also am the person that helps at Exquisite Learners and Exquisite with Heart. And we have Pau, who is doing wonderful things in the world. She comes from the Philippines. She's a writer, a digital marketing specialist, a live stream host, and a speaker, just to say a few things that she does. And she takes pride in living her life by giving into new opportunities and striving to battle her imposter syndrome every single day. Now, that's something I can completely relate to straight away, Pau. One of the reasons why I asked to help G.S.T with having this Be Fearless was because of
Mhm.
my fears of going live online. So
Right, right.
be gentle with me. I know we're on episode 13, but I think the nerves are still there no matter what. So, Pau, it's lovely to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about how you help people in the
Of
world?
course, I'm happy to share all of that. And I'd like to also kind of like kick off from what you said about it's episode 13, but I'm still having these, the nerves are still all over the place, even if we're at episode 13. So I've been doing, live stream hosting and talks like this for more than a year at this point. But even every single time, it doesn't get any easier. So it still has that you kind of like fear that there might be technical errors. I might say something wrong on air. It doesn't make it any easier, no matter how many times you try. But I guess that's where we just come in and present ourselves in the most authentic way possible, kind of like what we're doing now. And we're just here
Absolutely.
conversing like we are on like just a video call, just casual video call between
Mhm.
two friends, and just showing up authentically. And I guess that's the main one of the main things that I try my best to help people about, is sharing that kind of story that I
Mm.
am just like everyone. I would get people I would hear from people telling me like, "Oh, how do you do it? How do you just show up? You're always, we see you everywhere online. You're talking here and there. You don't seem to be scared. You don't seem to be you seem to be confident and stuff like that." And I'm like, "No." Not at all. I am sweating buckets at the back of my head and stuff like that. And I guess it's how I kind of like share with everyone else that it's a thing. Like fear is a thing. It's always gonna be there. And I always share that the reason why you're nervous or the reason why you're fearing this and that, because it means something to you.
Mm.
It means a lot to you. So you don't want to, make mistakes as much as possible. You want to take the opportunity as best as you can, and, not end up doing something miserable about it because it's something that means to you. Because if it doesn't mean anything to you, you wouldn't fear it, or it won't have that kind of impact on you. It's just like, okay, I'll just go for it and whatever. I don't care. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
I don't care. So that's why I'm not afraid. I'm not nervous. I'm not this and that. So I've heard it from even my mentors, even those who've trained me rather. Sir Pochola de Leon Gonzalez is the voice master here in the Philippines, and he was one of the people who really trained me to have this confidence, or at least the most of a confidence at any given time, to speak to an audience digitally and face to face if given the chance. And he would tell me like, "Pow, up until now I'm still learning. Up until now it still gets me scared to be on stage." And that kind of like reformed what fear is in my mind. So you think that fear is something that's going to hold you back, or it's something that's going to go away in time, with experience and with time you feel like it's going to go away. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think
Yeah.
so. Simply because, as mentioned earlier, fear is there because it means something to you. What you're
Mhm.
doing means something to you. So you kind of like just want to really really do your best, and by wanting to do your best you have all of these oh no's in
Yeah.
your head, right?
And that's such a good message, pal, because the thing is, fear is real and fear is human. And what by sharing this, you're now enabling so many people to say, okay, I fear doing it, but what's the worst that can happen? If you just do
Right.
it, the next time you do it, you'll still feel fear, but you'll have done it once before, so you'll have that behind you. And it might not feel that much better every
That
time, but
much,
you'll
yeah.
get the confidence to know that you can handle things if they go wrong. And the point is to just get started, isn't it? And don't let that fear get in your way. And that, I
That is
think
so
what you said
true.
is so important. And that's hopefully going to resonate with a lot of people, because it's always good to know that even, the likes of Tony Robbins, somebody said to me very recently, a mentor of mine said that, Tony had said he really got nervous getting on the stage, and even now still has to talk himself into a place where
Right,
he's
right.
comfortable. So yeah, it makes us all feel good. Now, Pau, I'd love to know about what you do to help others. So make sure you do tell us what your specific job is, and then we'll go into more about being fearless.
Okay, sure. I actually do my day job is I'm a sales specialist. So that's most of the thing, most of what occupies my day job, my time for my full-time job. However, outside of my full-time job, I am a speaker and a trainer. I'm the head trainer of the Certified Voice Artist program here in the Philippines. So I guess I would like to kick off from that and just really anchor everything from that, because that's the most how I help people, I guess, is through that program. I'm able to share my experiences. I'm able to share aspiring voice artists here in the Philippines that I was once like you guys. I was just a participant. If it was a classroom, we're having it online, by the way, but I keep on telling them, like, if we were in a classroom right now, I'd be that girl at the far corner just hoping that the teachers won't notice her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I tell them through my sessions on CVAP, Certified Voice Artist Program. I
Hmm.
tell them that I'm just like you guys. There's no harm if you're feeling nervous right now. That's totally okay. So that's the best way that I kind of like help people out, as I try to tell them that whatever you're feeling right now is valid. I try my
Mm.
best to use the channels that I'm given the chance, like this one, Global Speakers Talk, among other things, different platforms that I get invited to, and just acknowledge that whatever we're feeling right now is valid, and it's what we do about it that's more important. It's not what we're feeling right now, but what do we do about it? Like, do we allow it to hinder us? Do we use it to fuel us instead, and stuff like that? So through the program, I guess that's the best way that I can help, is by just trying my best, to relay the kind of messages that I'm relaying right now as well, in different kinds of forms, whether it's just purely for voiceover, aspiring voiceover artists, stuff like that, or any other individual. And that's I guess the most of it is just really showing up and hoping that your voice resonates to the people who are listening to you.
Well, it's a great message, and you put it so beautifully across. And again, you've made that point that we're all human, and it's not about the thoughts and feelings that we have, as you've just explained. It's about the action we take. It's what we do with those thoughts and feelings. Do we
Mhm.
let them hold us back, or do we let them push us forward, with some braveness behind us and
That's
some
true.
courage? um, okay, so I want to ask you, Pau, if you've ever had a time in your life or a situation when you've experienced fear that may or may not have stopped you or prevented you from doing something that you wanted to do, or something that you knew you should do.
I think every speaking engagement I have is that answers that question.
Yeah.
Like, every single time that I'd get invited, even to this one, there a voice in your head's like, "You talking about being fearless? What? No
Yeah.
way. Is it? There are so many other people who can be given the chance, or probably more credible enough to speak about this topic, or probably more someone else is more credible enough to be the head trainer of the CVAP of our program. I would have all sorts of those imposter syndromes. But then I
Yeah.
guess at the end of the day, all I keep in mind is these people who chose me to, for whatever reason, like being here, being in the program, being wherever. I would think like these people before choosing, someone on their program and stuff like that, they have some sort of like some criteria, some sort of like checking out and stuff like that. So, and I would keep it in mind and tell myself, if they believed in you, why can't you believe in yourself? So something to that effect. I'm like, they chose you. So just, you didn't look for it. So why not? The opportunity is there right in front of you. So all you have to do now is to just show up and, live up to that opportunity. So despite the fear, despite all of these voices in your head, despite all of this imposter syndrome telling you like, Am I really the right person to be here?" I would just keep in mind that, you know what, we are here. Whether or not we are the right person to be here, we are here. So, how do we take this chance? How
Yeah.
do we take this opportunity to the best of our abilities to just, prove those people who believed in you? How can you repay that? How can you pay it forward and just let them know that, okay, you believed in me, so this is how I can repay that
Yeah.
trust. So that's, I guess, the as much as the fears get the best of us most of the time, or a lot of times, definitely that's something that I don't deny. Like, even it still happens to me most of the time, but I guess that kind of thinking helps me battle it all out and just keep myself propelling forward with the thought that these people already believed in you, so now it's up to you to put in the work. So they've already put in the work by believing in you, so
Mm-hmm.
why not just push forward? And admittedly, it's been crazy. The experience has been crazy. Like, a lot of times my first few shows like this one and stuff like that were chaotic. I would trail away. I would trail off with my train of thought. I would flat out blank out on a live stream, but then I just take it as, okay, that was my first time, second time, third time, nth time. But then, at the end of the day, with every step that you do, there's some sort of like a learning process that you can take
Yeah.
from it. And as you mentioned earlier, the next time a similar situation comes up, you'd be like, oh, I did this before. So what did I learn from that? And how can I make it better this time around? And on that next situation, again, there's still a couple of more things that, oh, I could have done this better. So you try to do it the next time until that kind of cycle helps you keep on moving forward, and
Mm.
just telling yourself that, okay, I can do this better next time. So the next
Yeah.
time keeps on happening. Then on that next time, it's kind of like a cycle, but it helps you propel properly forward.
Oh yeah, and I absolutely love, your humbleness, if you like, saying, about the imposter syndrome and how it affects you. And also I appreciate your authenticity here as well, because, we are talking now just like we were before we turned the camera on. And, there's something really special about being able to share your vulnerabilities and saying, look, I've got people who believed in me, because I completely relate to that. I have people who've believed in me my whole life, and now do have aspirations for me and where I'm going to go forward. And I'm just like, well, me? So I completely relate to you, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who feel the same as us. And you need to listen to those people, and you need to have the confidence and the belief to push through those fears and those barriers, because you never know where it might take you. And
That is
that's
so
the whole
true.
essence of what we're talking about, isn't it? Because
That is
look at you, you're the head of this coaching bureau for voiceover, and yet you're still feeling like, oh, who am I to be here, whereas everybody has all that faith to put behind you. So I think it's a very important message that we're giving to people this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, or tonight, wherever you are.
yeah.
um so I want to ask you then, what specific actions or strategies have you used to overcome your fears? What could you share with people that might help them, more specifically, if they are saying, oh no, I just can't do it?
I guess the best way that I would share, I guess I would anchor it on the idea that before joining that program as a participant, and not before anything else, I was a participant first and foremost. And being a participant at the time was already a big step for me.
Mm.
So I was like, yeah, people are telling me like, oh, you might do well in voiceovers and stuff like that. But then, imposter syndrome would come in and like, is this really something that I should be doing now? I entered the program, by the way, at like peak pandemic time. So there are
Mm.
so many things going on in the world. That was 2020. So we were all stuck at home. We don't know what exactly is the next steps. How long will the situation prolong and stuff? There's so many things happening. And I'm like, and here I am wanting to check out a voiceover program. What is this? So I started out with that. And from there, I guess the main drive would be like, if do you want ask yourself this question, like, do you want something to change in your life?
Good
I
one.
guess that's one thing that helped me battle that first step of being a participant first, of registering and enrolling in the program. Is, do you want something to change in your life? And at the time I was like, yeah, I feel at the time I felt like everything in my life felt so monotonous. It's so routine. Everything's just, day in, day out. You can like write up a schedule already of how things are going, because it's just the same over and over again. So I asked myself, like, I kind of like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this kind of monotony anymore. So okay, might as well, if we want something to change, then might as well, put something forward to go for that change.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that was just the question that I asked myself. Do I want something to change in my life? If yes, then what can I do? And
Yeah.
then from there, I guess overcoming the fear is gonna be, it's just gonna happen over and over again.
Mm.
And it's, I think on my end, I would usually check things out on a macro level or objectively. Like, I would put myself away from the situation
Mm.
and be like, I would look at it like chess pieces or something like that, or something that I would be looking from top level and be like, okay, so this is the situation we have now. You're not there, your mind is not there. So how can we thrive in that situation without all of these self-imposed limitations that you have within yourself?
Mm.
So then I'm like, and then I guess we go back to that whole thing about just really, really keeping in mind that I did not volunteer for these opportunities. I did not put myself there and be like, oh, hey, pick me, all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was people, people who knew you, people who have had the chance to talk to you, people who have heard you from somewhere, and they'd be like, hey, we want you here. So
Mm.
I guess that mere idea, that just really keeping in mind that people believe in you, people believe in you, just
Mm.
just just uttering that in my head over and over again, people want you here, helps me to kind of like move forward. And successful strategies is that I'm just opening up myself to the entire experience, take the good and both the good and the bad, and use the bad as a way to learn from it, see how you can improve moving forward. And one thing, I guess, especially in the line of work that I do, one thing that's really important to me is like seeing the feedback of people, just the simple comment of people saying, I needed to hear that. So
Mm.
that simple statement is enough for me to be like, yeah, you know what, we're on the right track.
Yeah.
We're doing this. We're doing
Beating that
this. We're
imposter down. Yeah.
yeah, we're good. We're good. We're doing this. This is great. This is going good. We're fine. At least for now, we're fine. Take
And
it one day
that's
at the
it. That's what you
right.
got to do, haven't you? You got it's a lot of talking to yourself, isn't it? What I'm getting from you is that you dug deep into yourself, you dug deep. I can see you at the back of that classroom, and I was going to ask you what made you come from the back into the spotlight and say, I'm doing this course. But you answered in saying that you dug deep into yourself, if you like, and you thought about the way you were thinking, all your limitations. You thought about what you wanted and how
Mhm.
badly you wanted it, and you weren't going to let anything hold you back from that. And it was the drive and the desire that
Right.
pushed you through that fear. And really, that is the essence of what everybody generally says. You have to grab hold of that and push yourself through the fear. So thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. um and then the other thing I was just going to mention is, in a way, the imposter is fear's friend. You know, it, because because
It is. It is,
you
right.
know,
They go hand in hand.
it's putting the fear in you, isn't it? For sure. Um, so I wanted to ask you if there's anything now that you can think of that when you think, oh, I've got to approach this or I've got to approach that, that fills you with a little bit of a fear, apart from going live, or, you know, as we know, it's going to be slightly fearful regardless how many times you've done it. But is there
Mhm.
anything where you have to apply these principles as well that you think would help sharing today?
Right. I guess the best way to put it is also every day on my day job. Again, as I
Mm,
mentioned earlier, I'm a sales specialist, so every day I do still talk to people, and it's a different kind of talking this time
yeah.
because it's more technical, because you have to, promote a service and pitch a couple of things and all that. So every day I'm just fearing about the whole idea that I might encounter people who might, just impose what they want, and
Mm,
be like, be rude in calls. And we have Zoom calls in those sessions as well. So I would, it's really something that I haven't gotten over, like every day just showing up and be like, oh my gosh, it's time to clock in for work, it's time to talk to people again. You don't know
mhm,
exactly what kind of people you'd end up meeting or how they
mm,
treat you, because unlike for instances like this, we do have a common goal, we do have a common
mm,
theme. So we kind of like have that mindset already that
mm,
we are encountering like-minded people. So
mhm.
that gives you, it puts us in so much ease. But if every day
Absolutely.
is like a blank slate and you don't know what kind of people you're going to encounter, it's nerve-wracking. And admittedly,
Yeah.
until now, it's still something that I have to, I'm still battling. um
But when you've encountered them, Pal, how do
mhm.
you, does it make, I mean, I'm sure you've never had a situation where you've not been able to handle it. So with every little encounter, do you sometimes feel a little bit of, oh yeah, we're doing it again? You know, that feeling of, okay, I coped with that. You know, does it
Right.
help a little bit towards the next time?
Of course. And
Yeah.
I guess in that situation where admittedly right now I am not as confident as I shared with like being a speaker, being a host.
Mm,
So that's an entirely different story, because that one is something that I've managed to kind of like build up experience already from. But
mm,
the day job that I have right now is still eats me up inside every time. And I
mm,
guess on those instances where you don't have the at least at the moment where you don't have the right personal strategies that work for you, because admittedly I still don't have that with this new sets of fears. The only
mm,
thing that I keep in mind is just like, you know what, let's just take one day, one call at a time. So
sure.
as soon as this challenging client shows up and we end the Zoom call, I'm just gonna be like, I need 5 minutes to breathe. That call
Yes.
is done. We are done with that challenging 30 minutes. We're
Yeah.
good. We survived that. Nothing is coming up yet. So let's take a moment and bask in that 5 minutes that nothing is coming
Mm,
up yet. So it's
being
more of that.
kind to yourself. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And it's more of just really taking it one day and one situation at a time. Because if I would like get let it get the best of me, I'm just good. If every time I would have a challenging call and let myself, be consumed by that challenge throughout the entire shift or throughout my entire day, that I don't want like 30 minutes to taint my what 16 hours of my day already,
Exactly.
right? So
And
I'm
that's
just
your
like,
mindset again, isn't it? It's about digging
my,
deep. It's about knowing all about yourself. It's about, this is the great advice for everyone listening. The more you can think about what you're feeling and your thoughts behind it, you can get to know yourself. It's about self-development and just digging deep and finding those ways that you can talk to yourself and talk yourself
definitely.
around to realizing what is the real truth and what's happened here is it's not so scary, and or it's over, all of those great things that you obviously do. Brilliant, thanks for
Mhm.
sharing that.
And I
So
guess one of the things that helped me out is also, this is one thing that's really specific, is early this year I really started reading up a lot on stoicism and their
mm,
philosophy, and
mm,
just really a lot of things were quite enlightening for me, like stuff about like if it's not something that's within your control at the moment, then just let it go. So it's pointless to have, like, if it's not within your control, then why would you stress stress all over, stress up on it and stuff like that. And a couple of principles really helped me out. So learning a lot about that philosophy, or at least their key points and key mindsets, definitely helped me out in terms of building a stronger mentality when it comes to
Mm.
when it comes to these things.
That's a very good point, actually. The control. Yeah, we just sometimes have to accept we don't have that control. It's a very, very strong drive, isn't it? So yeah, it's
Hmm.
probably very helpful to learn about that. Amazing. So I was going to ask you about the transformation. If you could become even more fearless, what would that transformation be like? Do you think it might finally get rid of that Mr. Imposter sitting on your shoulder?
um Honestly, like, I feel like that thing is never gonna go away. It's just a part of my personality at this point. Like, there are just some things that you cannot fully rewire anymore, since you've been so used to that kind of mindset. So you just kind of have to learn how to live with it, deal with it, and don't let it get the best of you. Because I don't think I, at least knowing myself, I don't think I'd ever come a time where I'd be like, you know what, I'm fine, I'm confident, let's go for this. I'm good, we're good. Nah. I
Mm.
don't think that's ever gonna happen. So it's more of just like, okay, so when Mr. Imposter's right here giving you all of these unnecessary chatters, then how do we deal with it? Like, shush. I know, we
Mhm.
might not be good enough for this. So, let's just do our best then. If we
But
may not
see,
be good enough, then let's just do our best. You know?
yes, you're taking him
So
on though, pal. I mean, you're
yeah.
taking on Mr. or Mrs. The genderless imposter. Yeah, totally. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? And I actually
Mhm.
think it's interesting what you said, because I sort of agree with you to a point that different personalities struggle more with imposter than others. I
Of
think
course,
some
of course.
can work very hard to rewire and to use strategies such as meditation, etc., hypnotherapy, all sorts of ways, even personal development and working with a mentor to help
Mhm.
them to get rid of imposter syndrome to a certain degree where it's only a small part of their life. But I really agree with you that I think there are certain personalities, and I would agree with you that I'm one of them, that when you've got a die-hard habit, it's tough
It's
to
not it's
overturn that.
not
And you
gonna
might
go
make
away.
baby steps, and baby steps are not bad. Let's all celebrate the baby steps. And that's the
And
point
they're
I really
pretty
wanted to make.
helpful. They're really, really helpful.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
those baby steps are super important, simply because at least they're there,
Yeah.
versus there's none at all. So that's the important part. Because if there's none at all, the baby steps, the small steps aren't there, then Mr. Imposter, our imposter syndrome will just eat us up, and be like,
Hmm.
we'll take over, and we'll stop to pursue whatever it is that we want to pursue. But because of these small steps that we're trying to put, the small types of work that we're putting in, to battle that, then slowly
Mm.
they're getting a little quieter, not as quiet. They're still there, but at
Yeah.
least enough for us to go like, you're too noisy, go at the back,
Yes.
shoo shoo, get away from
I've
here.
stopped talking. Yeah. Brilliant. And I'm a big fan of baby steps too myself, because of being a teacher. That's what we teach children as little as when they first go to school and learn. It's
Right.
like we celebrate every tiny achievement. It's like,
Of
whoa.
course. Yeah.
And that's what keeps them going. But what I find funny, as adults, we've almost forgotten that, and we don't even cheerlead for our own teams sometimes, or people in our company, or you know I think it's always really important to remember to celebrate those tiny little things and have that in the back of your mind, because we're
Mhm.
just grown
Of
up
course.
children at the end of the day. We need exactly what they need,
Right. I think we need it. Actually, it
probably
even
more.
feels like we need it more. We need it more.
So, Pau, if you would like to say something to someone who was allowing fear to stop them from doing something, moving forward, or following their dreams, what's the biggest takeaway you would want to give them today to make them not stop following those dreams?
Probably the key takeaway that I would really like to share is the whole idea of just really taking the time to answer that question of, do you want something to change in
Mm,
your life? Then you can stop at just saying yes,
mm,
and take another time to put out, the necessary steps that you have to do. Because sometimes just the mere answer of, do you want something to change in your life, and you're like, yes, no, I want to, but I'm not yet ready. Those small answers are enough to propel you to the next level. And more often than not, I'm pretty sure every time we'd ask ourselves, like, do you want anything to change in your life? It's I don't think anyone would say no. Like,
Mm,
there's always going to be that one small something. It can be a tiny thing. It doesn't have to be a big grand change.
mm,
But I think I would assume, like, even the people who have it really good and stuff like that would still want, a couple of things to change in their lives. Probably they might have all the riches and stuff, but they're always so busy. So maybe the one thing they want to change is they want to spend a little more time for themselves. So,
mm,
if you can answer that question and bridge out from that answer, for example, you say, like, yes, you want something to change, then
mm,
at least you've already acknowledged within yourself that, you know what, yeah, I do want something to change in my life. So the next step would be just taking baby our next baby steps. Next
mm,
baby steps will be just thinking about, okay, how can we have that change? Can be something as small, like, I don't know, logging off, as having that disconnect time, to have that time for myself. Tiny steps that can lead to that change that we want. So I guess that's about it. Because if you would want something to change in your life, and you're firm that you want something to change in your life, the challenges will come, definitely. It's always gonna come regardless. So even if you'd stay stagnant, or just not really actively think about the changes, challenges will still come nonetheless.
mhm,
So might as well just work on the challenges that you would want to, I mean, that can help you out build up that change that you want.
mm,
So it's more of that, just really, the fears will be there, the challenges will be there. Like, I don't think anyone can ever tell you that you can completely silence them, or you can completely say that you're gonna be 100% fearless. That's impossible at this
yeah,
point. It's not human. You're not human if that's the case.
yeah,
So it makes these fears easier to deal with if you
mm,
have this goal in your head of why you're facing these fears in the first place. So at least find that why, your why of why you want these changes. And the next step would be, like, who do you have to be to
mm.
battle battle these challenges out.
That's brilliant. That's so helpful. And I think it's important that you mentioned that everybody has got something that they could want to change, even if they don't even realize it, maybe. I mean, we're in circles with people who want to change things all the time because that's a mindset. We
Hmm.
always want to strive to be better, or we're moving to the next, point in our life. And people who are working on themselves like that, that's very common. However, there will be people listening that might not realize that they do want to make a change. And
Right,
that's
of
where
course.
we've talked about doing what you've done, which is talk to yourself, find out what is it you really want. How content are you? Is there anything, that you're not finding out because you haven't had that conversation? So
Definitely,
yeah,
right.
and then feel the fear and do it anyway, as Sue Jeff has said
That is so
in
true.
the book. Not that I'm plugging any books, all books are brilliant. So Pau, this has been absolutely extraordinary. I've loved talking to you. Thank you for all the wisdom you've shared. Thank you so much for being so honest and open, and as I said before, very authentic. I feel really glad to have met you and have you in my life, and I hope that some people can get in touch with you, and that you can help to make a difference in theirs as well. So
Thank you
with
so
that,
much, Lisa.
oh, you're most welcome. Thank you for coming. And I also want to say to everybody who's listening, thank you very much for listening in today. If you are watching the replay, put #replay. Please give us some comments and feedback about anything that was your key takeaway from today, anything that you learned, because Pau and I would love to hear your comments and your opinions. So that being said, until next week, I'm going to say farewell, and I'd like you to join us again next Tuesday for episode 14 of Be Fearless, where we'll be inviting another special guest to chat with us about the topic. Thank you, Pau, and thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Lisa, for this opportunity.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Uh,